in Charleroi, and I especially remember the dead-end terminus down there. I suspect that these lines may have been in use years ago for the city cars, but what certainly seems to be new also is the second terminus here on the left, which seems to be used more by the articulated cars, but this may purely be by chance that I've seen them this way around. The actual departure point way up there where it says Metro, one track each side. There's still street running in this section of, I think it's Rue de Charleroi, through Marchienne. The railway line is the bridge on the background. But again, there's evidence of cutbacks, though these took place a couple of years ago. I'll just go back to this corner here. I forget what line it was, but what number, what name, but I did a loop around through an inner part of the city. Looks like they've just snipped the overhead off from the ears and left the rest. That's looking back into the main street. So it's been a process of chop, chop, chop over the years. Although I think most of it survived between 1975 and 81. It wasn't until after then they started chopping again. The sun's in the wrong angle and everything, but nevertheless shows the bypass for this section of track under construction. I'm not sure it's going to be terribly popular with anyone because it's going to bypass the shopping centre by quite some distance, but perhaps that's how the Vicinal wants it. It tends to look as though management would be a lot happier if it was a bus-only enterprise. It's just behind me. This is how the line used to be all the way to the city before. just on the side of the road. but now quite a portion is metro type, including a section of perhaps a kilometre or so in tunnel with a station. The rest of it's just across fields and so on. And of course a bit at Marchienne that hasn't been done yet. This is where we left off with the historic car on the last tape. A couple of days have intervened, as you may realise, inside our Louvière Depot. The reason why the trams here aren't real noisy is the slight helical taper on the gears. Quite a few bits and pieces on the bench there, including the horn, but it hasn't got the soundbox part of it, just the actual trumpet.
Bon, attends un peu, où est bien faire?
Night, and on Sunday when I was leaving the museum, fellas, they told me about a rolling stock transfer taking place tonight, Tuesday, and they invited me to come along on it, so I thought it was certainly worth it. This car dates from I think he said 1901. You can't see it just at the moment, but they obviously installed drivers in driver's protection, in other words a windscreen, and left a bulge in the front for the controller handle, but the brake handle's out in the open. I might be able to see it a bit more clearly. We're going out on Route 30, which you'll see a little bit of on the next tape, taken yesterday. It says there's a bulge above the controller for the swing of the controller handle, but the handbrake goes straight out the front. Perhaps they thought you wouldn't have to use it very much in cold weather. It's only just after 6:30, so there's quite a few people around, and especially since this tram's painted green with a bow collector, it's turning a few heads along the way and dealing with a rather unwieldy traffic problem. Once we get out of town, it'll be a bit easier. telephoto and the rocking of the car gives you some idea of why they want to abandon this route next month. This is still on Route 30, but this is getting towards La Louvière. Yesterday when I went to La Louvière, it was via Route 80, which a mile or so back split and went another way, but they'll join up again later. It's like half the loop's out of use here. Sorry, I lost the picture then.
On peut maintenant on dégage ou on attend le trafic? Non, on va y aller, hein. On va y aller?
After leaving the intersection, we decided to let the regular car go first, which leaves us a bit in the middle of everything here. Going anywhere. We don't exactly have 200 horsepower at our disposal like the regular car.
Mais il y avait moyen de le laisser passer autrement. Il fallait tourner l'archet alors. Ah, peut-être. On a un klaxon qui nous suit. Ouais, bien le bégué. Comment les enfants, c'était le boyau. Et l'autre, c'était OK. C'est pas mal. C'est Michel Auquer, c'est Charleroi. Donc c'est 63, 243, 243.
We'll give or take a minute or two. The journey's been of 1 hour duration, which isn't bad to play with your own museum car more or less. The drivers of this group are trained by the SNCV and thus meet all the requirements of a normal driver. And when rolling stock transfers have to be made, well, presumably they can do them. I don't know if the electricity had to be paid for or not. Reverses here and comes into La Louvière Depot. Turning the bow like a trolley pole. That's what the fellow Blono Shombi told us about. We're sneaking into a depot which they're not really fond of normally. Louvière Depot. And here comes former Vicinal PCC, which was over in one of the communist countries for many years. I've just managed to get it back. Testing the brakes or something tonight, I think. Right, Barry, I know you'll especially be interested. Not normal PCC trucks. Dusty. I won't reset the lights, lights for these for indoor, but you get some idea of what it's like. Just been doing something with the sandboxes. Looks like we're going out in the street with it anyway. Don't know what it says. I guess it had something to do with tickets or something. It wasn't possible to get much of that on video. But if you can imagine the PCC being driven quite fast from the other end. Occasionally illuminating the sky quite brightly. And everyone seemed to have some fun. We would be more for a mile, I'm sure. Just heading back into the depot itself now. This line hasn't been used for a while, but unusually management has left the tracks in place. Of course, had to shift a couple of parked cars on the way down. Certainly doing a lot of odd things on this trip. Don't know whether David would be into it or not. Car's under restoration here. That'll be a 4Runner to an S-Class. It's a bogie car, but it looks like the four-wheelers. There's an S there, or possibly a trailer. The older trailers that used to work here, I think, and certainly used to work on the coastal line. Next to a couple of other oddities. Can't really get a good view of it, but it appears to be, I think it's a diesel car. Perhaps tonight's the night they're going to all play Trams. Run out, and I gather they're both going to go up to the Louvière line, so again it's that mile or so up the line to the former junction. Quite a nice car inside with plenty of stained wood. This is the one that hasn't been modernised with fluorescence, even little tables with stained wood and the glass on the top. Car's got an unusual fault. When being driven in one direction, one of the motors doesn't reverse. So I don't know how a motor can be wired up so that it doesn't reverse, but I'm sure it's only a case of motor leads being hooked up the wrong way somewhere. But anyway, someone can experiment one day with it. So they're having a lot of fun. At the moment we're on the footpath in front of houses. Had to shift a few cars earlier, as usual. This is a spot where we leave the road and go up and over the railway bridge. The trees are starting to take over, and I'll turn off now because you won't see anything. Probably can't see it, but we've raised quite a dust cloud coming up the street. Looks like bonfire night in Sydney. all the dust. There's one, and there's the other, and just at the T intersection there is where Route 80 runs. Used to be a little bit of muck in the road. Don't know where we're going now. Sort of looks like they want to go around the corner. See much, but we're on Route 80 now. That is on the regularly used line. Although it's an official car transfer, but what a lot of fun. See the time? There's the regular 80. Running all lonesome, I think. Not a passenger in sight, not surprised either. It's unfortunate though.